And I'd like to introduce you to my friend here, Leanne Miller, and she's a qualified hand therapist, and she works for the NHS and privately, and she's going to be talking to us today about...
So this is going to be about conditions that can be exacerbated in musicians because of the positions that you have to get into, particularly when playing the violin. The conditions that I'm going to talk about are not exclusive to musicians, so don't panic that every musician is going to get these conditions. It's just something that you might have an increased likelihood of getting, as I say, because of the length of time musicians practice and the extreme positions that you have to get some of your joints into. And I'm going to get Alison to just show us the positions on the violin so you know exactly what I'm talking about and what joints. So first of all, I'm going to talk about carpal tunnel syndrome. So that's a condition where the nerve that runs through the wrist, the median nerve, gets squashed basically. Certain people have an increased likelihood of getting this, so people who are diabetic, who have osteoarthritis, but it also comes under the umbrella term of like repetitive strain and sometimes work-related upper limb disorders. So if you are a professional musician, that is your work, obviously you can be more prone to this. So as I was saying, the median nerve, which runs through the wrist, okay, it supplies this part of the hand with its sensation, and obviously it supplies the muscles as well, so really important for kind of the position when you're holding the violin and also the bow. You can get this in both hands as well because of the position of playing the violin. So this condition can progress over time, so it can start with just kind of pins and needles at the tips of the fingers, which then progresses to more severe numbness. And if you can imagine trying to hold a bow with the correct technique, or trying to put pressure onto the strings without having proper sensation, it can be obviously really difficult and quite disorientating, because when the hand hasn't got sensation, it's pretty much blind. And obviously when you're playing a musical instrument like the violin, you need to be looking at your music and not at what your hand is doing. So if you can imagine, it's almost like playing the violin with a really thick gardening glove or a rubber glove on, and if you did that, you'll get some appreciation of what it's like for someone with carpal tunnel syndrome. So if I just get Alison to take the violin out, and I'll just show you exactly what I'm talking about. It's more so we're looking at the wrist, and especially when a violinist is coming down into positions further down, and it's that constant movement of the wrist. And obviously if you're playing quite quickly and quite vigorously, and if you're practicing for long periods of time, the median nerve is getting repetitively exacerbated, which can create swelling here, and that is potentially what will cause carpal tunnel syndrome. Also, the position of the elbow as well is quite important, because the ulnar nerve, so a different nerve which travels around the elbow and comes into the hand and supplies the other side, so the little finger side of the hand with its sensation and its power. And this can also get squashed at the elbow or just a bit higher up from the wrist. And again, this will give the same symptoms but on the other side of the hand. And so when you're using the strings on this side of the hand, you're going to have difficulty doing that as well. And this is obviously because you need to have the elbow flexed constantly when you're playing the violin. Okay. So if you do have any of these symptoms, obviously I am not in a position to diagnose. You really do need to get this checked out professionally, to have further investigations, nerve conduction studies, and be properly diagnosed by a medical practitioner. This is just really a very quick overview and a heads up, so if you are getting these symptoms, you can be a bit more aware and not ignore them. Sometimes people might think, oh, it's just because I'm doing a lot or I'm practicing for long periods, but if this is left, then it can really create problems in the long term. Sometimes a nerve, if it's squashed for a certain length of time, it may never fully recover. So in terms of treatments, if you have been diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome or cubital tunnel syndrome at the elbow, there's different methods that can help. So first of all, conservatively, you can wear a splint, but obviously you can't wear the splint while you're playing a violin. It would just be impossible. It would restrict your joints too much. So normally the splint is worn at night in an attempt to try and unsquash the nerve for a long period of time. But you might find that you have to do some techniques like take regular breaks to allow the hand to recover, and almost change how you play the violin in terms of the length of time and the amount of repetition that you do. Alternatively, if you need surgery, then obviously that will surgically decompress the nerve, and unfortunately there might be further complications after that. So if you do have this condition, then don't panic. We're not saying it's the end of your musical career. It just needs careful consideration and possibly adapting your schedule or how you normally practice, perform. So this has just been a really quick overview just to make you more aware of this topic, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope Leanne has given you some information there that you can all digest, and don't forget to subscribe to my channels, and thanks very much.